Classroom Dynamics is supported by Logitech. As education continues to evolve, so does Logitech Education, your partner in content creation for the classroom. With Logitech's cutting-edge technology, students not only learn but also become content creators. Whether it's in person or online, Logitech's tools are designed to inspire educators and learners alike. Capture every educational moment in stunning detail and edit, produce, and share your creative journey with ease. Logitech Education, inspiring the next generation of creators. For more, visit logitech.com/education, transforming classrooms one innovation at a time. Welcome to Classroom Dynamics, a teacher podcast. I'm your host, Adam Todd. Get ready to tap into the power of motivation and innovative teaching strategies. Together, we'll ignite a love for learning in your students, fostering an inclusive environment where every child can thrive. Join us on this transformational adventure that empowers you to unlock your full potential as an educator. This is Classroom Dynamics, where inspiration meets innovation. Calling all educators, are you ready to inspire creativity and engagement in your students? Unlock their full potential with content creation. Imagine empowering them with cutting-edge tools like the Blue Sono microphone from Logitech, which ensures crystal clear audio quality for impactful projects. Logitech offers a full range of content creation solutions, from audio equipment and cameras to lighting and editing software. Plus, they have a suite of education solutions tailored for classrooms, elevating the learning experience for students and educators alike. Empower the next generation of creators by exploring the possibilities at logitech.com/education today. Welcome to Classroom Dynamics, the podcast where we get into the amazing and ever-changing world of technology and education. Hi everybody, I'm your host Adam Todd, and today we have a special episode dedicated to exploring the innovative solutions provided by Promethean. Promethean is a renowned company at the forefront of transforming classrooms into dynamic and interactive learning environments. With a strong focus on educational technology, Promethean has been empowering teachers and students worldwide with their cutting-edge solutions. They truly are an educational powerhouse that is engineered to drive engagement. One of the key products that has revolutionized the way educators engage their students is Promethean's Active Panel. These displays go far and beyond traditional blackboards or whiteboards of the past, integrating state-of-the-art technology to create an immersive learning environment. And Promethean's interactive panel displays are more than just interactive touchscreens. They are a powerful teaching tool designed to foster collaboration, encourage student participation, and enhance overall classroom dynamics. With their intuitive interface and user-friendly features, teachers can seamlessly integrate technology into their lessons, making them more engaging and impactful. Today, Promethean offers an extensive range of interactive tools such as their annotation feature, the spinner, multimedia integration, and digital collaboration, allowing teachers to present content in creative ways. Students can actively participate, interact with the panel, and even share their work with their peers directly to the panel, promoting a comprehensive and collaborative learning environment. Promethean is not just learning, they are learning, transformed. Their commitment to education goes beyond hardware. They provide comprehensive software solutions such as their Active Inspire software, which empowers teachers to create engaging lessons and interactive activities effortlessly. This multifaceted software enables teachers to tailor their lessons to suit the unique needs of their students, allowing for individuality to each and every teacher and classroom. By harnessing the power of Promethean's interactive panel displays, educators can transform their classrooms into vibrant, interactive spaces that nurture curiosity, critical thinking, and knowledge retention. Promethean's commitment to advancing education through technology has made them a trusted partner for schools and educational institutions worldwide. In today's episode, we'll welcome some of Promethean's educational consultants to discuss various aspects of Promethean's state-of-the-art interactive panel displays, including the panel's features, real-life success stories, and expert insights. We'll also discuss the broader landscape of technology and education, showcasing the latest trends, innovations, and best practices that are shaping the future of learning. It's all coming up next on Classroom Dynamics.
Your world is about to change from this to this. Promethean is here to help streamline your transition back into the classroom with our award-winning active panel that will transform your classroom from this to this. No matter what tools you need to tackle this next school year, we've got you covered. Learn more at prometheanworld.com.
Are you a dedicated educator searching for fresh and engaging resources to inspire your students? Look no further than Highly Motivated on Teachers Pay Teachers. Discover a treasure trove of easy-to-use lesson plans, vibrant visuals, and interactive activities designed to captivate young minds and ignite their love for learning. Unlock the potential within your classroom with Highly Motivated, from differentiated lap books to test prep passages on a multitude of topics. Our wide range of materials cater to most elementary and middle school grade levels. Join the community of passionate teachers who have already transformed their classrooms. Visit Highly Motivated on Teachers Pay Teachers and get ready to inspire, motivate, and empower your students like never before. Highly Motivated on Teachers Pay Teachers, where knowledge meets inspiration. For those of you who use Promethean panels, you'll probably recognize the names of some of the educational consultants that we have on the podcast today. Joining us today, we have Katie Marks, the head of regional PD for New York City. We have Melissa Lipka, the head of regional PD for the West. We have Matt Barfield, the head of regional PD for the East. We have Gady Dumfort, who is the head of projects PD for the West and the New England region. And finally, but not last, and on my list here, we have Paul Nasser, the head of projects PD for the East region. It's an all-star Promethean educational consultants lineup on the podcast today. And I want to welcome each and every one of you to Classroom Dynamics. It's nice to have you all here with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
thanks,
absolutely.
Adam.
I'm excited to be here.
Thank you.
This is going to be a fun one. Now, I've personally worked with this Promethean bunch for several years now in some capacity. In one way or another, we've done a lot. We've done ISTE conferences together. We've done some other conferences as well. And I can tell you from personal experience, the educational consultants that we have assembled here today really do know their stuff. So once again, welcome. Thank you for your time in doing this. I appreciate it. I think our listeners are going to love what you guys have to say. And, I honestly can say that, and I think I speak for a lot of teachers out there, that I can't live without my active panel. And I'm always looking toward the future with whatever Promethean has in store. The panel's worth for just engagement purposes alone makes it one of my must-have tools on a daily basis, every day, all year long, for years now. So let me start with Katie Marks for you. I'll call you Katie 1 if that's okay with you. Let me ask you, if a teacher or school district has never, I don't know if this is ever the case really, but if they've never heard of Promethean before, how would you describe the company and some of its products like the active panel to them?
Okay, so this group knows this is like my favorite question because I feel like a very personal answer to it. So, Promethean is number one in the global market, right? We've been around for 25 years, which I didn't know, when I was in the classroom at the time. So we are all former teachers on this team. So we all come from the classroom. And I personally taught with Promethean, an old Promethean board, and Active Inspire for the 10 years where I was in the classroom. So, when I did make the jump from the classroom, to Promethean, it was kind of by accident. But when I saw the name, it was one that was familiar to me. So it caught my eye. It wasn't like, I was seeking anything out, and I probably wouldn't have noticed it if it was, any other company. But coming on to Promethean, I'm always so proud to say, like, we are an education company. Yes, we are in technology and edtech, and we have hardware and software, but being able to kind of see behind the curtain from our standpoint, to me, it's just really important that the product team, they utilize our team to reach out and ask what teachers need in the classroom. So all of the apps you see, the hardware and, our Promethean classroom apps, our software, it's all built with the classroom in mind. It's not just, hey, what's going to make us $1 and what's going to look good in a classroom. It really has a lot of thought behind it. And it's always important for me that, again, those product teams are reaching out to us because we are the ones that are talking to the teachers and we know, what is needed in the classroom. So as I mentioned, I taught with a Promethean board, and it was kind of one of the originals, and it was really old. In fact, that school just took it out as they're remodeling. So when I came on board and saw what the active panel was, I mean, it's just, you're going from chalkboard to something that's state of the art. So it's just really nice to have something like the active panel. So for anybody who doesn't know, it is, an interactive touch screen, but it is so much more than that. We still allow teachers to connect their devices, but we have our own classroom apps that are built into the panel, and we just continue to evolve those, to keep that engagement up in the classrooms.
The fact that you're a former teacher does help, obviously, because it does bring you that experience that sometimes, guys in suits or women in suits that just are not in that trench, so to speak, that they don't have that connection. It's awesome that you guys have that background because that does help you understand what teachers are looking for. But with the active panel, what are some ways? Because like I said, I can't live without my active panel. I love it. If someone took it away from me, I think I would probably retire. I'm not even kidding. I think that would be the case. With the active panel, what are some ways that teachers can enhance those learning experiences for their kids and encourage them to be more engaged in lessons and just overall learning?
I'm actually going to throw this to Melissa because she has a great way of kind of explaining this. So Melissa, I'll let you take that one.
Thanks, Katie. Now, and again, Adam, we are all former teachers, 23 years in the classroom. I taught math. So I look at Promethean Active Panel as making not only a teacher's life so much easier, but opening a world to kids that, as you just said, how do you engage them? How do we what does Promethean do? Everything we do is designed, for the teacher and also for the students. So we have solutions that are built in, pre-installed. We have interactivity is one thing. We get that question all the time. Why is interactivity so important? Why do we need a touch screen? Just try one and bring one into the classroom and have a student use it. And that's the answer. That's my best answer I can give you. It's an interactive experience, and then teachers have a way to enhance their lessons. So with that, they have the ability to annotate over anything. They can draw, they can write directly on the screen to explain concepts and solve problems. So it gives them, beyond the chalkboard, beyond the dry erase, we're like opening that world to keep going with the learning, and non-disruptive too, by the way. You're not switching tools. You have that infinite canvas for a whiteboard. So you, as a math teacher, you get that quadratic equation. It just got a little bit too long. Well, now I'm able to scroll and be able to do that. So it also it encourages engagement. And teachers can create content using Promethean's pre-installed apps. We have, the timer, the spinner, all these different activities, all these different engagement pieces that help the teacher engage their students, which is going to promote that learning.
I love the spinner. I think that I go to that a lot, especially with the younger kids, grades 1, 2, sometimes 3, to put the spinner up and put birthdays in there. Or different kinds of shirts, styles, words, or whatever, and to spin that just to get them to move in a normal kind of human-like way instead of running to computers and using them, it's fantastic. So in terms of engagement and classroom management, it's perfect. And all the other tools that you've actually mentioned, I definitely use too. And I think teachers who have the active panel do use those things because it just makes life so much easier,
Yes, it does. And I almost forgot the all-time favorite. Well, Whiteboard is our all-time favorite app right now, and exciting things coming with Promethean, with our Whiteboard and evolving. So I'm super excited about that. But I forgot about screen share, the ability for students who maybe be the hybrid environment. If they're not at school, they can still partake in that activity by sharing their content, to the classroom if they're not there. So all types of ways to engage students.
That screen share, I know some of the teachers are using it now because some of them have the computer that can turn into a tablet almost, and they're using that as their walk around the room. So they're really detaching themselves from the panel itself, yet they're still using it at the exact same time from any place in the room. So I know teachers are using that. I know some students, some classrooms, they also share that to just share work that they've done just to as a glow and grow. But just even the teachers, that ability to move around and actually disconnect from that device is actually, I think, a big positive too.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree.
So Katie, number 2, Katie Dumford, what impacts does the use of the active panel have on learning outcomes itself? Is there any research to support improved learning? I know you guys just came out with the state of technology and education report. Are those kind of things the things that teachers need to get their hands on to kind of understand the data behind it and the research behind it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought up our state of technology report, but really, when we think about as educators, we know that when students are engaged in the lesson, it positively impacts learning in the classroom. And so that's really like all of the ideas and different ways that you can engage with the panel that Melissa went through. That's what really makes a huge difference within the classroom. Now, of course, we do have our state of technology report. And within that report, we had over 1,700 educators interviewed from all across the US. And there's definitely a lot of trends that come through all of those interviews. And so a lot of that, when it comes down to it, the majority of educators say that technology in their classroom makes it easier to engage with students. It helps with lesson planning and delivery, and it improves the quality of teaching. And so you can find out more. This is readily available at prometheanworld.com if you want to dive into the full report as well. But really, when we boil it down, we want students engaged at the panel with the content. We want them collaborating because we know that when they're engaged, they're learning. So that's really what it boils down to.
We used to have, this is a while ago, so this is nothing new. Now every teacher uses, in my school at least, and I'm sure this is the case across the world, not just the United States, but across the world, we used to have older kinds of interactive whiteboards. And a lot of the time, I would say almost 9 times out of 10, you would see a teacher putting one of those big giant Post-its up on it and using that to use the board. And the leap of engagement between just doing that, which doesn't do very much, versus that total immersive interaction for the kids, it speaks volumes.
Exactly. And when you have multiple points of touch and multiple students can be up at the panel interacting with the content, that's way more engaging than a piece of chart paper that's stuck to the front of a whiteboard. So it's just that wow factor. Students want to come up and touch the panel as well. And it just really makes a great environment in the classroom when you have a Promethean active panel.
And even on the whiteboard where you can split the screen and have 2 groups coming up, that's huge. I know a lot of teachers use that for math to show 2 different ways, and they're doing it at the same time. It's really pretty cool. I mean, that's just the technology alone between when we were all kids versus now is night and day completely.
Well, right. I taught 5th graders.
I'm sorry, Katie. I've got to jump in on that. So the other thing there too is I'm sitting over here like trying to mind my P's and Q's, and I'm like, wait, this is a podcast, right? I gotta interject a little bit, right?
Jump in.
But we add on to that. You think about it, the poster paper, the charts and all, they're still hanging in the classroom. Kids don't have access to those when they get home, right? Like, I mean, now a kid can get their phone out, take a picture, but if we're doing more digitally, then we're not just engaging them there. We're engaging at home because we can easily share that to those drives, to that, give them access to that, to those, I'm one of those parents that I capped out at 5th grade math, and my kids were like, no, I don't need any help anymore. And, because I was always, I didn't teach it like this, right? When I was a teacher, this is not how I did it because I was pre-Common Core. And so now they've got those examples that, the ways Katie's talking about that engagement, those pieces, but let's send it on home, right? And not, let me do it at the end of class. No, I can click now, send it on. It's in their drives. It's ready to go. So just being able to add that extra access, that extra layer of support when they walk away, again, all your notes are done for those that are absent that day. I mean, there's so many pieces that we we can use to engage any group of teachers at any time, no matter the subject area, their time with technology, none of that. We have something that we can use to make life easier.
Oh, 100%. And, as a parent myself, if you're going into your Google Drive and you could actually see those notes that does make a good, there's a nice connection there that, okay, I'm going to try to help you with your 5th grade math. I don't really know it 100%. Let me take a look at it and kind of figure it out myself. But then you start to use the teacher's notes. It kind of does help bridge that gap.
Sometimes it triggers it for the student. Oh, I remember now, because it takes them back to that moment in class, right? And then they're like, oh, now I remember what to do, because they can make sense of it because they were there watching it happen. Then the parent can fall in, and again, it's unlocking a little extra part of the memory there. So for sure.
100%. So we also have Paul Nasser. I don't want to leave him out. But being a user of Promethean in my media center, I've always felt that Promethean has done a fantastic job of staying closely connected to teachers who are using their products. Representatives like you guys meet or connect with customers regularly, and they make sure that they hear the teacher's voice, which I think is important in the classroom. I'm personally on that PEP team that meets once a month to kind of give a little bit of feedback. And a lot of the things that we've seen come on the panels has come from meetings between people like you guys and teachers like me, in terms of product development and things like that. So is there any cool stuff that's coming along the way that you can kind of hint us in on as to what's coming for any future fun on the panels?
If you kind of look at the way education is, tools need to be available anytime, any place, but that all comes from customer feedback. We saw through the pandemic, our tools evolve over time, and there's always updates coming out to, Active Panel Titanium, Active Panel 9. We just released a few of those. Active Inspire received a very good update to 3.1 the other day. You can find all that on Promethean World. If you're asking for anything cool with stuff, one of the easiest things to highlight is if you go to 1.Promethean World, you can get into our progressive web apps. So you can get to spinner, timer, and annotate, where if you're using those legacy products, you're actually getting new tools to be accessories to your lesson as well. Like you said, that all comes from, customer feedback and evolving where that comes from. Like if we're 4 teachers, by teachers, for teachers, we need to take that feedback of what they're doing, evolve it from there, offer opportunities for screen share to be improved, spinner, timer, and Melissa started to get into whiteboard a little bit as well. So that's pretty much what's down the pipeline. But, because some of our panels are Android based, similar to, other devices, they receive updates, every few months, quarterly, with anything new or cool or improvements, just to ensure teacher satisfaction along the way.
Yeah. And, all the panels, every time there's an update, I gotta get excited. I'm like, oh, what's going to be the new thing? What are we going to add to this? What are we going to get to do now? So, because I'm always looking for that. And I think teachers who use it regularly, I think they become very comfortable with, the style, what Promethean offers. And then you get that little new toy and you start to play with the new toy, and you kind of, start to incorporate that into your repertoire.
Yeah, and it gives you, that wow effect where it's not status quo all the time. So if the kids get excited about it, it's more of a reason to use those tools in there.
100%. Matt, going back to you, you often participate in Promethean's professional development. So kind of getting along the same lines here, and all those meetups like Steam Forward, the annual tailgate, the teacher appreciation workshops every year, and other professional learning opportunities for teachers, for them to kind of join in and hear from you guys specifically. How successful are those types of events, and what kind of feedback do you actually get from them?
Yeah. So I was so excited when I got tasked with this question, right? Because these are the things that I do still, right? Katie mentioned, she's had Promethean. I think we're pretty close to, if not on the day, it's this week. I got my first Promethean active board in my classroom 20 years ago today, right? So Promethean has been involved in my career every day since then, right? For 20 years now, whether being a classroom teacher or working for the company itself.
Now just stop and think about that for a second, right? Just the time. 20 years,
yeah, I know. And
right?
I'm only 21. So that's crazy that I've got 20 years invested and I'm only 21 years old. Right. Yeah, no, I do sit back and I think about that, right? 20 years and watching the evolution of the product and watching the evolution of the company and of the space that we work in, right? Because 20 years ago, you would have thought the projector and a board and your active pen was the coolest thing. And it was the absolute coolest thing that was out there. And you never saw an LED panel coming down the line that would, even open up more, or what software could do, or what, Microsoft was not in education space very much, except for CTE classes at the time. And Google was just a browser, right? I mean, just a search engine at the time. So, I mean, it's so crazy to see and watch it go. But, and that's where I think that our events do help out with that a lot, right? Because there's so much coming at teachers. And, during the pandemic, there was a lot, and we needed to be able to provide focus for them certain times of the year, right? That they could come back to, take the technology that they know that they have, and then spend time learning on that tech. We have, of course, our biggest event, our most anticipated event is still coming up this year with Steam Forward 2023. My team cracks up because they can't be more excited about Steam Forward than I am. And, but it's its sixth year of doing that. So that's super exciting. And we've also, though, got, of course, our largest event, to date is Camp Promethean. And, it's also just finished its sixth year as well. So, we take those are great because they're day long, right? They're very focused. Our education consultants go on, they talk about, it's not about the product. It's about how the product can get used in your classroom with quick and easy strategies that they can walk away with, right?
And you actually have teachers guest present
for teacher appreciation.
Well,
we do,
right?
For tech and admin, we bring in a lot of outside guests, and then on Steam, we've highlighted some teachers as well during our live from the Steam Lab sessions. Whereas camp, it's, the way we treat camp is, and of course, Katie Dumford, who is our lead camp counselor right now for that one, is, she can talk so much more about this one. But for camp, it's really just more of, you're dropping your teacher off at camp. What are they going to get exposed to that day? So that's where the ECs really get to shine in their skill sets, what they bring when they come from that teaching background, so that's always exciting as well. But, of course, like I said, my heart's at Steam, love Steam Forward, just because we've really worked it up from a groundswell over the years. And when we talk about feedback, I was just scrolling back through prior to the call today, just some of our different Twitter feeds, or I guess I should say X feeds over the last couple of years. We just have moved over into the Instagram platform, starting to kind of make a movement in there. And just things like best PD ever, right? I mean, what else do you say, right? Or I'm taking this strategy and, oh my gosh, I'm building my spinner right now for tomorrow, already ready to go. I mean, like, teachers just getting on and engaging and just posting their own little comments. That's like the best thing ever. I think I saw one that really sticks out was, and I forget which EC it was that delivered it, but it was like, I just want to vote that this was the best session of the day, right? And then they went on to say, and it's not because she works with our district, right? It's just, but that's where our ECs though really make those relationships and those connections, that's helping drive people to be on, right? I mean, think about the connection with you and your district and, and how you got involved and those kind of things. We're constantly looking for those relationships, and we're getting really close to releasing our dates for next year. We've got a little bit of tweaking to do, but we've got a great lineup already planned for next year. We're going to do a couple of new things. And then the last part to there is we also took our teacher tailgate this year, and we took it on the road and actually had a teacher tailgate at ISTE, and kind of did it, trying some new things out where we're not just all online, right? That we're going to have some possible live events and opportunities for teachers to participate with us. So maybe some stuff coming up for like FPTC, TCEA, maybe in the late winter, and then we'll go from there. But these all these guys that are on this call do such a great job to really drive these events with teacher appreciation kicking off. This year we kicked off in May. Like I said, we've got some surprising changes coming for next year. We follow it with a strong camp, right? That's, just really leading our way, our largest number. And, we've got tech and admin. So we're addressing our IT side of the house, right? All of those pieces and getting special guests to come in there. A lot of district administrators or IT administrators are working on that one. we bring in Teacher Tailgate, right? Which is just that kind of, it's teachers' own little PTA or PTO event, right? Where they can come in, they get celebrated. Hey, let's get hyped up. Let's go. And then we hit that National STEAM Day and STEAM Forward and all. So, So last thing I'm going to leave you with is we did some numbers earlier this week. With all the events that we've done over 6 years, we've reached 70,000 session attendees in that time, right? And we haven't even done STEAM, which is probably going to hit us close to 100 now. No, I'm joking. Wow. I'm joking. We won't quite. I don't think we'll quite jump to 100, but we're super. I mean, that's a lot of teachers, right? That's a lot of teachers across. The globe, because we do get folks from outside of the U.S. that join us as well. So it's exciting. It's good to see that groundswell really taking effect.
Those numbers are impressive. I think even if you told me 25,000, I think I would have been impressed, because that you just think of the sheer number. We only have 35 teachers in my school. Right. Another school might only have 20 teachers, maybe a bigger one has 100, but you really think of the reach and again, global, right? It's no longer this small town or city or even state anymore. Now we're talking a global kind of community, and the ability to, go onto a Zoom or do it virtually and join in one of your sessions from across the world in the middle of the night, probably for them is impressive. And, it's like me with my classes when they leave, or if I hear a kid not say it maybe directly to me or maybe to somebody else, if I hear them say that was a lot of fun, that means the world to me. I'm good. I'm going to drop the mic, right? Drop the mic right there. And if you put, you guys putting in that kind of effort and work to make that event such an impressive and successful one, to hear that kind of feedback really has to make you guys feel great.
It does. And, and one of the things we look at there is we feel like we're constantly looking at what is the best content to deliver, because we notice that once we get people in, we're keeping them the whole time. Right. And to us, then we look at it and say, okay, we did really good on the content here. Now we got to look at, we're not just sitting stagnant, right? And just thinking, well, we did it this way last year, let's do it again. No, this team always pushing the envelope to make it a better effort not each year, but each event. Right. That's why we keep joking about STEAM Forward, because we've learned so much in improvement this year that we're applying those improvements to our last event, that, we should have a great show that day as well.
Just keeps making the next one better.
It does. Right. It does.
So, yep. Let me switch gears to go back to a little bit more of the classroom now, with Melissa, with classroom management, unless you want to pass this off to someone else. But classroom management, to me, I think in teaching, and you probably will agree, I think that is the starting point of everything for the whole day. If you have good classroom management, the rest of the day flows. Your lesson could be okay that day. You might not have your A game on, but if your classroom management is really strong, that B or C kind of version of a lesson might actually end up being an A kind of version.
Absolutely. Right? And Adam, I'm going to tell you, what do you, when you look at kids and you want to see like what makes them tick, they want structure. They want routine. They need that to get through. They have enough things coming at them all at once that they're trying to figure out. If they have that routine and structure, you're absolutely right with that classroom management. And going back to, from the moment they walk in the room, you have a display. What's your schedule? We tell teachers, put your schedule up as your wallpaper on your panel. Your kids are going to be drawn to the technology. Mm-hmm. They're going to know the schedule. If there's announcements, you can do it. So right there, classroom management, by having that display available for your students to see, going into I'm going to talk about the timers and spinners again. I mean, putting time.
That's where I was going with it. That's really what I want to, because that is, those two, even those two small little tools that, maybe somebody when they created it didn't think it'd be such a big deal, is a huge deal.
Oh, it is. And our product team laughs at us because we'll come back with all these suggestions. Oh, we wish we could import a list from this to get into. And they're like, why is this so important? Because we did this. We know what, works in the classroom, and our product team is amazing. They take our input, they try to do what they can for us. And as you can see, they produce some great products. But, even like, having the popsicle sticks, pandemic changed a lot of that, with not wanting germs on things and not want things being cleaner. So our spinners, instead of pulling the popsicle stick, have that spinner readily available and use your spinner. So a lot of great different things. And I know teachers also go to the web for their favorite apps. I mean, Bouncy Balls, I don't know if I'm probably promoting it, probably going to get maybe I'll get an offer to go for that. But I mean, when I used to do trainings, they would say, can you get Bouncy Balls on and can you bookmark that? I'm like, absolutely. I mean, we have an enhanced Chromium browser that just makes the teacher feel comfortable in their own environment, being able to go to those favorite websites. So classroom
a lot of teachers are using that Bouncy Ball, because even in my class, in my school, they're using it. But look, isn't that the cool part about it? You guys came up with some stuff, but then just the ability to draw from the outside too and integrate it onto the panel. The fact that it works is right. That's half the battle right there. If it works.
Yeah.
I want to do one more plug for the spinner, because I always would tell this story when I was delivering PD or a demo and talking about the spinner. I went to a 3-day workshop when I was a teacher, and they sent me and maybe 4 others. And the 3-day workshop was all about the importance of random selection in the classroom. The entire workshop. It was 3 long days. And what did I bring out of that is I came back and I made popsicle sticks. And if you guys know me, they were color coded, and, the kids could make like a cute little icon on it if they want. I mean, and I went all out, and those popsicle sticks lasted about 3 weeks, right? Because they got lost. A kid took theirs because they didn't want to be called on, and a new student came in, and I just couldn't find the time to pull out the popsicle sticks and write their name on it. Right. So I always say one of my favorite apps is the spinner, because again, I think back to that workshop and it was all research based. Right. And we all know that the same student raises their hand all the time. And I always say, like, the spinner then would have been a life changer in my classroom. And then forget about just calling on students, just all the other ways to use it in the classroom. So I had to give one more plug to the spinner, just because that workshop stands out in my mind.
Right. And all the tools put together just help in differentiation. It helps with all sorts of classes, from general ed to special ed to ICT classes to high school to, down to pre-K. It really does come together. But let me ask you this, Katie, then. So in our school, we've been fortunate. We had a grant, and we're about to get a second active panel in all of our integrated co-teaching and special education classrooms. This way, so what they're going to basically plan on doing is after their lesson, the general ed teacher can take a small group and work with them at a panel. And the special education teacher could work on the panel on the other side of the room with her own or his own small group as well. That kind of, I think, engagement alone, because I always say it's like a horse with blinders. If you put a screen in front of the kids, that's all they see. You can give them every kind of interactive paper or doodad, but when they have a screen in front of them, that's that horse and blinders effect. That's what they see. And for some of these kids coming out of the pandemic, especially for those kids who were at home and kind of missed out on that pre-K and first grade or even second grade, that time frame, this is what they were really raised on. This is all they kind of know. They know how to use it. And I think it's up to the teacher to engage them that way as well, especially on a differentiation level.
Yeah, and I'll chime in on this one. Mm-hmm. We've seen a lot of really interesting and innovative ways to use one panel in the classroom. And then when you add a second panel into the classroom, it just really opens up a lot of opportunities and what you can do. And it's not just a front of the classroom device, right? Like, we want it to be a student collaboration center. We want the small group learning to be there too. We have mobile, right? So you can move them around. It's not stuck to the front of the classroom because it is more than that. Really, we've designed our panel with the intention that you can just walk up and teach. Like, our whiteboard and going in and accessing the whiteboard, it's meant to be that it's it's easy to access, it's easy to figure out, not only for our teachers, but for our students too. And so that really makes it easy to have 2 panels in a classroom as a teacher. Even if it's 2 teachers, great. But if you have, if it's just yourself, you could have students over at the other panel working together through the whiteboard. It's meant to be just where they can just go up, grab their pen and go. I've got a 4-year-old, and it amazes me how intuitive he picks up on the tools in the panel, and he knows how to open the whiteboard and change the pen color and start drawing from there. And so that's the biggest thing. And then with our new active panels, we have our built-in screen recording app, so teachers can actually record their lessons. And just like Matt was saying earlier with sending your whiteboards out, not only could you send the whiteboard, you could send out a recording of the lesson. And so there's just so many ways that you can make learning accessible with our panels. And you have all of these digital resources at your fingertips. So it's literally endless as far as what you can do with the panel. And I know I'm 6 years in now at Promethean, and I'm still learning new ways that you can use the panel in the classroom from teachers and from our EC team. And it just always amazes me, all of the great things that we have going on out there with our active panels.
I'm glad you said that, because the panel is made for one thing, and then you probably learn a teacher has tried it and done it successfully one other way, and you're like, wow, I never thought that it could be used that way, right?
Exactly. They bring so many different things to us all the time. And, even with the 2 panels, they're starting to talk about student huddle spaces to lead those conversations. So it's exciting when you get into those conversations where they're going to head.
I think using 2 panels is going to be the future now, because, what we had decided on when we were trying to, just survey teachers, what would you like to spend some of this money on that we had for our grant? That's where it came out of, we have the panel in the front. It'd be kind of cool if we had one in the back. And then I mentioned, hey, listen, we can get a mobile stand, and that way you can slide it down to the floor. So if you guys wanted to sit on the rug and kind of make it more homey and more comfortable, it would be fun. And then the idea started, okay, we can do that. And this would be great, because while I'm doing something, someone else could do something. Or was mentioned earlier, we could have stations or a student led only kind of area, which is fantastic. And these are the things that are coming out of this technology that I don't think was on the drawing board the first time around.
And I was going to say, how often do we hear from teachers, everybody here, oh, my student already showed me how to do that, right? Like we were talking about how easy it is, and how the kids are just starting to use them independently. And the kids, like Katie said, a 4-year-old is just jumping right in. And, my kids too, and mine have it in the classroom and often are pulled to help a teacher, figure it out. But the kids will just, because they're not afraid of the technology either, right? Mm-hmm. They're not afraid to click, where we get teachers who are just a little more hesitant. But, a lot of times they're like, oh, my students already showed me, that feature, and they figured it out before I did.
Oh, yeah. It happens more time than you can imagine.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure.
Active Inspire is very popular for teachers because they can build those lessons from scratch. Is there anyone who wants to talk toward Active Inspire?
I think any of us Melissa, I just said this morning, for some reason, I shadowed Melissa at one of my very first trainings, and Melissa just reminds me of Active Inspire, and I don't know why. But, we've all used it. I used it in the classroom for 10 years. I probably didn't use it to its full extent. But I think any of one of us, have different experiences with it. And
well, let's complete the story. So Katie says, I'm going to color code you orange. And she goes, because it reminds me of Active Inspire. I says, well, maybe because it's legendary. Maybe that's why.
I think you said legacy.
That's where we were laughing.
I think you said legacy.
And that's right. My legacy. Yeah. And that's my point. That's when I was in the classroom, Adam, I started with Active Inspire. I had the Active Inspire with the boards, with the projectors. And it was a game changer. This was in it was a long time.
She said 19.
I know. So it was a long time ago, but I was one of the only teachers with that type of technology. And of course, it was just starting off. So schools were just starting to dabble in it. It was no fault against my, where I was teaching or anything. It was just starting. My classroom, because I was the test classroom, and I had Active Inspire, because you had nothing else. There was nothing else but Active Inspire. So our software is and continues to be so dynamic. It's just teacher friendly, easy to use, resources, interactivity. I mean, the list goes on. It's a legacy. It's a legacy.
And you create a lesson and you save it. And now next year, there's no prep.
That's right.
Exactly.
You already have it.
Right.
You already have it. Could you tweak it to who you have in front of you? Of course. But for the bulk of it, 90% of it, probably you don't have to change a thing.
Especially if you teach like Greek or Roman history, right? Because it's not changing.
It's not changing.
I mean,
it's not changing.
Geometry,
right? It's not changing.
But you're also getting the upgrades over time to add new features to it.
Right,
so like when you created that first lesson, you didn't have activities, you do the update. Now you're starting to add that activities icon, bringing students up to the board. And then when you pair it with the panel, multiple points of touch, again, huddle spaces, engagement, dare I say, even human interaction coming from a pandemic. So,
Oh, listen, this has been a lot of fun. But before we go, Katie, where can teachers go to, or even technology specialists or administrators who are looking to incorporate a new technology into, or even an upgrade? Where can they go to find out more about Promethean products?
Yeah. So, Prometheanworld.com, you can find all the information on our hardware, our software updates. If you have, our hardware and software already, we also have a professional development page, which is why we are all here, to learn about our PD offerings. And it's also where you can register for the upcoming Steam Forward in any one of our...
mention Steam Forward coming up.
I gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
So for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, on our PD page is where you can see all those events. And then for PD resources, if teachers, have Promethean and they're looking for PD resources, learn.prometheanworld.com has tons of resources. We have online courses, we have a video library, we have PDF resources. And this is also where you can find all the recordings for all of those events. So you can go back and rewatch Camp Promethean and Tech and Admin Summit and get to kind of live those again and see what you might have missed because you were in another session.
So you're saying there's a lot of support for teachers.
There is. And then one more little plug is social media, right? Because we are finding so much that's where teachers are getting their resources. So, I love TikToks now. I'm a little ashamed to say how much time I spend before bed watching TikToks, but the teacher ones are fantastic. And we have a group of ECs that make TikToks, and they are short and sweet little tips and tricks for using all things Promethean. So they're on TikTok, Instagram, and the new one is at Threads. I'm sorry, I'm not on that one yet. And that is EC EdTech Tips. So if you follow EC EdTech Tips, and then of course you can follow Promethean on Facebook and on, are we calling it X, I guess now? But Promethean is on those as well. But the TikToks are just fantastic. Melissa kind of heads the social media team there. And we're just really proud of the things that we share on social media. So just another way for us to be able to support those teachers.
It's awesome. It really is. It really is awesome. Liz, I want to thank this amazing team of representatives from Promethean who have shared their insights with us today. Their passion for transforming education and empowering both teachers and students through the use of innovative technology, obviously, as you heard today, is truly inspiring. And their commitment to raising the bar in education is undoubtedly shaping, the future of classroom learning. I can't wait to see what's going to be next in terms of what's coming out and just the new technology. And for those of you who have been listening, thank you for tuning in today, and make sure that you share what you've learned or any takeaways that you have or reflections that you've had from the team. Tag us on Twitter or one of Promethean's social media accounts. You can find us on X, Twitter, again, whatever we're calling it these days, at Class Dynamics, or Instagram at Class Dynamics Podcast. Once again, thanks to everyone here at KD1, KD2, Melissa, Matt, and Paul from Promethean for being on with us today, and also for being such a beacon of innovation for technology and education on a worldwide level. I think that's the most amazing thing. And thank you again for joining us and taking the time today.
Thanks, Adam.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And that brings us to the end of this episode of Classroom Dynamics, where knowledge and inspiration meets innovation. I hope you've enjoyed today's discussion and found it both to be insightful and uplifting. As always, my goal is to provide you with practical strategies, engaging stories, and powerful insights that can fuel your motivation as an educator. I believe that when knowledge and inspiration do come together, incredible things can happen in your classroom. And for all of you who feel that it's too late to strengthen your craft, I challenge you to make it your mission to do so. You've worked hard to get to where you are today, and it's never too late to infuse new life into your work, so why not make today that day to do so? I'm Adam Todd, and you've been listening to Classroom Dynamics, a teacher podcast. You can follow Classroom Dynamics on X at Class Dynamics or on Instagram at Classroom Dynamics Podcast. If you haven't already, go to Apple Podcasts to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. And if you know a teacher who may benefit from today's show, please share it with them. We'll be back soon with more captivating conversations, inspiring stories, and strategies that you can implement into your everyday routines. Until then, keep igniting that spark in your classroom and never stop believing in the incredible impact you have as an educator. You're more powerful and inspirational than you think. If you loved this episode, you're going to enjoy my conversation with Elaine Atherton of the Scratch Foundation. Whether you're familiar with Scratch or not, this is the coding episode for you. With her profound insights into creative learning and technology, Elaine has been at the forefront of revolutionizing the classroom experience through initiatives like Scratch, inspiring countless educators to integrate coding and computational thinking into their curricula.
How do we think of AI and how we integrate it and think of it with Scratch as it aligns to expressiveness as well as convenience, looking at the possibilities, not necessarily running away from we don't want to do this. We don't want it to be a part of the process. AI, especially in regards to image generation, it doesn't replace the creative process. We actually need to think about how to make it part of the creative process. It's going to happen.